Hi, I'm Julia, Reference Librarian at McAllen Public Library. Welcome to the Virtual Traveler, where we'll be exploring the world using Google Street View. Be sure to stay tuned after the tour for some library book recommendations. In honor of Black History Month in February, and also Mardi Gras, which was last week, today we're visiting the unique American city of New Orleans, Louisiana. Anyone who reads books, watches movies, or listens to music probably has a very distinct vision of New Orleans in their minds, involving the historic French Quarter, Cajun food, French perfumeries, balconies, jazz music, and of course vampires. Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire and Charlaine Harris's True Blood probably immediately come to mind. All of this is tied to New Orleans' history as a decadent French colonial port city. The city was founded in 1718 by French colonists and was the territorial capital of French Louisiana before it was traded to the United States in 1803 with the Louisiana Purchase. The land was previously inhabited by several Native American groups, and years of conflict with the French colonists followed, as more and more land was forcefully taken from the original Native American inhabitants. Eventually, New Orleans became an economic and cultural hub for North America, as its location on the Gulf of Mexico, at the mouth of the Mississippi River, made it an ideal entry and exit point for the rest of the world to the North American continent. The city's population doubled in the 1830s, and by 1840, New Orleans was the country's wealthiest city and third largest. However, by the late 1800s, as the growth of railways and then highways decreased traffic on the Mississippi River, the city began to slip in the national population rankings. It's important to realize that the area's economic prosperity was due to the enslavement of Africans and the institutionalization of the transatlantic slave trade. Slavery did not end until more than 100 years later in 1863, when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. Although slaves were freed, they did not yet have the right to vote. On July 30th, 1866, approximately 50 black freedmen were killed by the former Confederate soldiers while peacefully demonstrating for the right to vote at the Louisiana Constitutional Convention. Black people were finally granted the right to vote with the passage of the 15th Amendment in 1870. But due to Jim Crow laws, circumstances for many did not begin to improve until the Civil Rights Movement of the 1960s. During the Jim Crow era, New Orleans' large community of free persons of color, who had been free prior to the Civil War, organized and fought against Jim Crow. Later, the city became central to the Civil Rights Movement and was where 6-year-old Ruby Bridges became the first child of color in the South to attend a previously all-white school. The struggle for equal rights continues to this day as gentrification and lack of opportunity displaces longtime residents of the city. In the cultural realm, New Orleans is known as the birthplace of jazz music, and is in fact the birthplace of legendary jazz musician Louis Armstrong. The genre has its roots in West African cultural and musical expression, and is characterized by swing and blue notes, complex chords, call and response vocals, polyrhythms, and improvisation. Similarly, New Orleans' famous Cajun cuisine also has West African influences, along with French and Spanish. In the end, New Orleans is a perfect example of the blending of cultures that makes America so unique. This was Julia, and thank you for watching. Be sure to follow MPL Adults on Facebook and McAllen Public Library on YouTube, and don't miss any of our virtual programs.